Oh, hi. I'm sorry, that was rude. Who would have thought 25 years ago that text messaging was going to become the new and way to communicate? It is amazing how text messaging has grown. It is said in UPI that 72% of people are texting now. It is also said by the United States Census Bureau that in 2007, text messaging was at 110,000 text messages a day. Now it is saying in 2008 that 220, it has doubled our text messaging. I believe that was taken in 2008. I would say that that has probably quadrupled now. Everybody is text messaging, everybody. When text messaging first came out, I was a little nervous about it. My kids were texting me, they would text me. I didn't even answer them back because I found it very difficult to press those little buttons, or they finally got me a touch screen and I found it very difficult to text on this. I didn't find it necessary. I used to tell them, if you have something to say to me, pick up the phone and call me. Until they really taught me, and I realized that when I was calling them, they weren't picking up the phone. Sometimes they were in places where the phone wouldn't ring, or they couldn't have the phone turned on, or whatever. But I did realize that if I text them, they got the message sooner, and 90% of the time they would text me back. So I became an expert at text messaging. I can text now. I text, sadly to say, more than I talk on the phone, which is not the greatest thing. I'm not happy about it. I do love the fact that I can get in touch with my children at any time, but I'm not happy that we don't talk to each other anymore. It is said that according to UPI, the first text message was Neil Papworth or something in December of 1992. The text message was sent in numbers. It was sent with the numbers facing in different directions to look like letters. And it was first invented, text messaging, believe it or not, for the hearing impaired and the deaf, so that they can carry cell phones around and they can get messages because it does vibrate. So they didn't need to hear it ring, and when a text message, and they could ring, and they were able to keep in touch with people. And now it has swarmed the country. It has swarmed the world. Everybody is text messaging. It's the new craze. I never thought that I would become a text messenger, and better than that, I never in my life thought that my parents would. They're in their 70s, and in order to talk to their grandchildren, they have learned and perfected text messaging so that they could talk to them at any time. There are some negative and some positive impacts on text messaging. The first negative impact, of course, and the most important, is safety. Children or teenagers who are driving are texting while they're driving, and that is even more dangerous than talking on the phone while you're driving, because you actually have to look down. Well, I have to look down. There are actually teenagers who don't have to look at the phone to text. They can text with the phone in their pockets, which is hard because they're texting in school. They're texting while the teachers are talking because they don't need to look at the keys. They don't need to look at anything. They can text in their pocket. Another negative impact is there's no personal communication, which I find very sad. You don't know if the person you're texting to and is talking about something is sad or not sad, or it's hard. It's hard to text and not see what the person is feeling. So text messaging kind of brought into the world a non-personal communication. Some of the positive things are text messaging allows people to say what they want whenever they want. Because they're not face-to-face with somebody. So they could say things they normally wouldn't say to somebody if they were face-to-face. So there's a lot of truth and honesty, and it's not so scary to tell somebody how you're feeling through a text messages because they're not in front of you at the time. I could talk all day about text messaging because when it first came out I didn't find it a necessary thing. And now I find that I text message more than I talk on the phone. According to the Associated Contact, the negatives way outweigh the positives. So if we could just teach our children and our new generations not to text while they're driving and not to do, the things that are unsafe. There's a lot of things that are unsafe, and it's just, you need to watch. It has become, well, finally the United States, believe it or not, the United States wasn't the first to text message, and they weren't the fastest growing. Actually, the Philippines. In the Philippines, everybody text messages. They have the greatest number of people text messaging, and finally the United States is catching up with them because of the phones that we're coming up with. They have slide phones, they have touch phones now, they have phones that swipe, you push your finger across. So in summary, there are topics, there are many topics, messaging, and how it has affected society, how it is discussed when first text messaging has happened. And I mean, you could sit here, I can have a conversation with you for about 30 days on how text messaging has become popular, how it became popular, and I just think, I think it's a great thing. I think that text messaging has become the wave of the future, and I think it's even going to get better than it is right now. So that is my medium device, and I hope you enjoyed my presentation.